Ozzy Osbourne's life reads like a rock and roll epic, chaotic, brilliant, heartbreaking, and stubbornly human. From a humble working-class childhood to becoming the frontman of one of the most influential heavy metal bands in history, he lived a life of extremes, fame and scandal, triumph and long personal struggle. This is the story of Ozzy, the man behind the name, told with honesty and respect for everything that shaped him. John Michael. Ozzy Osbourne was raised in a modest English household where music, hardship, and devotion mixed in complicated ways. His upbringing left a deep mark on him, in the way he sang, in his instincts, and in the private silliness and vulnerability he often hid from the public. Even as a child, he found himself drawn to sound, to the idea of performing, and to an escape that only the music world could provide. Ozzy's early adult life was not linear. He married, had children, and tried to balance family responsibilities with a chaotic touring career. As pressure from the music business mounted, his public persona and private life began to diverge. He became a figure who, despite personal flaws and illness, inspired fierce loyalty and creative admiration from those who worked with him. Ozzy's career-defining chapter began when he and a band of friends formed a group that would later be called Black Sabbath. Their sound, dark, heavy, and unlike anything that had come before, changed the landscape of rock. The band tapped into cultural unease and turned it into a powerful new musical language. Sabbath's performances were raw and theatrical. Their music captured a sense of modern myth and dread, and Ozzy's voice was central to that identity. From the outset, Black Sabbath's rise was hectic. Tours, recording sessions, and public controversies arrived close together. The band's performances drew both adoration and moral panic. Audiences loved the music, while some critics and public figures tried to pin blame for social ills on the spectacle surrounding heavy metal. Through all of that, Ozzy remained an unmistakable presence, odd, enigmatic, and deeply human. Behind the headlines, Ozzy's family life weathered many storms. His relationships, particularly with Sharon, who would become a lifelong partner and manager, were complicated but immensely important. Sharon's influence and hands-on management were crucial in navigating the business of Ozzy's career, even amid personal conflicts and health crises. Family tensions, addiction struggles, and the stress of life on the road meant that Ozzy's private life often looked very different from the image fans saw on stage. When Ozzy launched his solo career, it was a new chapter of reinvention. He survived hard times and re-emerged with a string of albums that showcased his voice and persona in new settings. Along the way, he collaborated with top musicians and producers, and he embraced both the heavy and the melodic sides of his music. His solo work proved that his creative instincts had staying power. Alongside renewed creative success came high-profile moments, some triumphant, some tragic. Concerts, TV appearances, and interviews kept him in the public eye. Fans connected with Ozzy's candidness about his struggles, and his music continued to matter to successive generations. Ozzy's life also included battles no stage could hide: addiction, accidents, and chronic health problems that spanned decades. He repeatedly confronted the consequences of years of substance use, medical emergencies, rehabilitation stints, and the long process of repairing a fragile body and mind. These struggles were public and painful. They revealed a man who could be reckless and self-destructive, but who also fought to stay alive for his family and his art. As the years passed, Ozzy faced tough choices about touring, treatment, and how to manage the physical toll of a lifetime performing. At times he recovered, at others he relapsed. Through grim stretches and hopeful ones, his story remained a portrait of human frailty and determination. Ozzy's career coincided with cultural battles over music, media, and youth. He was a lightning rod for critics who worried about heavy music's influence. Misunderstandings and sensational headlines sometimes overshadowed his artistry. Yet even critics who disapproved found it hard to ignore the sincerity and musicality he brought to his work. Ozzy's narrative became an example of how rock music frequently becomes a scapegoat for wider social anxieties. Looking back, Ozzy Osbourne's legacy is complex and undeniable. Musically, he helped sow the seeds of heavy metal. Personally, he exemplified the price of fame, but also the powerful resilience of a man who kept making music despite everything. His life shows how creativity, family, illness, and the demands of fame overlap in ways that change people irreversibly. If you want to understand Ozzy Osbourne, look past tabloid caricatures and stage antics. See a kid who loved sound and who, despite confusion and chaos, became an unmistakable voice for a generation. His life was messy, spectacular, and often tragic, but it left behind songs and moments that still mean a great deal to people around the world. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, share it with someone who remembers those first heavy riffs, or with anyone curious about the hidden stories behind rock legends. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on Ozzy's career. Which chapters surprised you most? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives behind the music. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.